Hello, I'm just popping here to say that first off, that this is part 2 to a previous video which you can easily find because it's literally the only other thing on my channel. The only difference is that in this video I'll be talking about the character and personality of Higuruma Hiromi. If you watch the first video, you don't really need any explanation, so let's just get right into it. Higuruma Hiromi is a player in the Culling Games. He is 36 years old, with short dark brown hair, and stands at an average height, which in Japan is 5'7". He almost always has a bored and tired expression on his face due to the nature of his work. Speaking of, he is a defense attorney, and he has a bit of a strange stance on the law. He seems to only take cases of people he believes or knows to be innocent. Because of this, he is seen to be very strong-willed, but also stubborn in his opinions. If he believes something to be so, it would be difficult to convince him otherwise. But this is all surface-level traits about him, things you could tell at a glance. So, let's go deeper. Higuruma shows incredible stability in a job that is easily one of the most draining. He's shown to be an incredibly skilled attorney, but even the best falter. We see Higuruma being shouted at by one of his previous clients for reasons completely out of his control. And even then, when the person he tried saving so hard had completely swapped faces on him, he didn't say anything about it. He didn't condemn them, he didn't shout back, he understood. He understands that the people he helps will have one of three outcomes. The first, and the one that we see, he fails to defend them, and they get sent to prison, and now hold a hatred for him since they believe Higuruma failed them. The second is similar to the first, but the defendant instead understands Higuruma is not at fault and blames themselves. And the third is that Higuruma succeeds in his trials and the defendant comes out free. Higuruma completely understands this system and knows there isn't anything he can do about it. And chances were, if he could change something about it, he wouldn't. People are people, feelings aren't a science and can be unfounded. He understands this. We do see one of Higuruma's cases in chapter 159. One where he must defend a man for murder that is almost guaranteed to end in a guilty verdict. Despite everything seeming to be stacked up against the defendant, Higuruma displays his superhuman reasoning and deduction to cobble together an argument that ends up working. His defendant is given an innocent verdict and is almost set free. Almost. The court appeals this verdict and a second trial begins. Due to the lack of more evidence on the side of the defense, the court finds grounds to instead turn the verdict from innocent to guilty. When Higuruma turns to look at the defendant, he sees that same look he got from the previous client who shouted at him. Anger. As the court is dismissed, this is where Higuruma reaches his breaking point. He snaps, and in a blur of anger, he awakens his curse technique, and proceeds to presumably kill everyone in the court who helped prosecute his client. Past this point, we only see more of his murderous spree, killing at least 20 sorcerers in the Culling Games without seeming to have any regrets. And when Itadori Yuji approaches and then threatens him, Higuruma doesn't hesitate to fight back and will do everything he can to kill Yuji. And he nearly does. Only because of Yuji's claim that he was at fault for the countless deaths in Shibuya does Higuruma begin to understand why he got into law in the first place. He realizes he had taken a place he never wanted to be in. Within the same chapter, we see Higuruma speaking with someone with some standing in the courts of law, presumably a judge. He then asks Higuruma if he would instead wish to become a judge instead of an attorney. Higuruma denies the offer. He claims that he isn't cut out for it, that he isn't ambitious enough. I don't believe this is true. I believe that Higuruma just doesn't want to become a judge because he doesn't want to be the person deciding people's fates. Why do I believe this? Because that is the exact person he becomes when he snaps. When he becomes the very person he never wanted to be. He only wants to help. He claims that Lady Justice wears a blindfold to avoid any bias. He claims that people follow suit, closing their eyes to protect themselves from the truth in front of them. He does not. He says, verbatim, even if I'm the only one, I want to keep my eyes open. When he comes to his senses, he clearly shows great regret for what he had done, the people he has killed, and the person he has become. He would sacrifice nearly every point he had in order to make sure no one gets hurt anymore by the system he once thought was just. He changes and becomes better despite his countless sins. The next we see Higuruma is in the fight against Sukuna. During the fight, we get flashbacks to the training and planning in the case Gojo were to lose against Sukuna. During this, we see Higuruma volunteer himself to be among the first to attack Sukuna if Gojo is to fail. Keep in mind, Higuruma had only been a sorcerer for just short of 2 months, and is going to go up against a being thousands of years old, and is the pinnacle of Jujutsu. After this, we see an interaction between him and Yuji, where Yuji asks if Higuruma wants to die. Higuruma is clearly unsure of the matter, but we do see he finds himself guilty for everything he had done. He does not want to die, but he does seem to understand it would be necessary for the system in his mind to continue. If you break the rules, you face the repercussions. I apologize for spoilers for the end of the series, but if you wish to avoid them, I suggest leaving now. After the battle with Sukuna, we see all the survivors talking. Among them is Higuruma. Despite having survived, it's clear that wasn't his intention. If he had the choice to be saved by Wee Wee, he most likely would have denied, letting himself slowly die in that destroyed city. So, in short, Higuruma is an incredibly deep character that had a lot of care put into him. I can make an entirely separate video on this exact same topic, and it would come out wildly different because there's just so much to unpack about this character. But for now, I believe I've touched every base I need to. For my next video, I won't make any promises, but I may make a video similar to these two about Hikari, because he is just as intriguing to me as Higuruma is. And considering the time this goes up, it'll probably be my birthday tomorrow, it may be put on the back burner for a bit. So with that, maybe I'll see you next time.